Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Dean's Forum on Third Space Thinking. I'm Laura Jackson, adjunct faculty member here at USC Annenberg, and also the primary researcher for the Third Space project that's going on here. Dean Ernie Wilson was called out today, so he's not available, so I'm going to pinch hit for him today. And very honored to welcome our guest today. It's Jon Robertson, HR Operations Director for UPS Western Region. Jon is a seasoned veteran. He's got about 27 years, over a quarter century with UPS organization. And he's going to discuss how UPS, the global shipping and logistics giant, exemplifies and incorporates third space thinking when addressing its biggest challenges, finding, embracing, and retaining the right talent as they navigate the future for success. So please join me in welcoming Jon Robertson.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. And, you know, to UPS, or to many people, UPS really is exemplified by the delivery driver that services your neighborhood or comes to your business. And, you know, the iconic UPS brown vehicle and brown uniform. But there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes. And so as we get started, I wanted to share a video that gives you a little more insight into UPS.
You're in New York. You have customers all over the world counting on you to deliver as promised. So consider this. UPS delivers earlier to more U.S. businesses than anyone. And UPS delivers to more countries from the U.S. by 9 a.m. and before noon than anyone else. In fact, we deliver to more than 200 countries and territories worldwide. So for reliability, speed, and reach, count on UPS. Whatever speed you need, UPS provides more package delivery options than anyone. From early morning to 3-day delivery, you choose the air option that works best for your time and budget needs. Across the globe, millions of customers rely on UPS every day. We deliver over 4 million urgent documents and packages worldwide daily. And with nearly 600 aircraft flying to and from over 800 airports, there's always a UPS plane in the air. 14 strategically placed air hubs around the world maintain the pulse of the UPS network. And the heart of the UPS network is Worldport, located in Louisville, Kentucky, with 250 arrivals and departures daily. At 4 million square feet, UPS Worldport is a modern marvel. Its 75 million pounds of steel is twice that of the Eiffel Tower. The size of 80 football fields, it's bigger than the Pentagon. This one-of-a-kind facility is the largest fully automated package handling operation in the world. A finely tuned network of conveyors and high-powered computer systems sort nearly 1 million packages every day. Each package is scanned several times throughout the process, and key information is captured, so tracking the progress of your shipment is only a click away. From start to finish, packages travel a precise route of automated scanners, trays, and containers. They're only handled twice through the entire process, at arrival and departure. The rest is automated. Packages are carefully sorted before traveling through 122 miles of conveyors. So whether you ship documents, electronics, or golf clubs, your items move one by one in single file. We call it singulated flow. That's because the packages never touch one another. This unique and innovative approach to package handling helps protect your packages while traveling through the facility. Our advanced systems are in sync with more than 20,000 UPSers who are an integral part of this carefully choreographed network. A key part of UPS Worldport is the Global Operations Center.
We're watching a building line of thunderstorm activity in portions of Nebraska.
Minute by minute, 24 hours a day, our meteorologists, traffic managers, and the operations team work together to evaluate weather conditions, air traffic, and all aspects of the air network to ensure your packages arrive on time. Adjacent to UPS Worldport are our specialized end-of-runway facilities. Here we receive, pick, pack, and ship goods the same day for delivery as early as 8:30 a.m. the next morning, which means you can offer the ultimate customer service for late-night orders. The capabilities of UPS and the commitment of our people are unparalleled, and that extends to our commitment to the environment. UPS leads the industry with our quiet, fuel-efficient air fleet and the industry's largest private fleet of alternative fuel vehicles. UPS provides optimal service and value to our customers through our legendary approach to efficiency, which also helps minimize the impact to the environment. For example, the UPS airline is equipped with cutting-edge flight planning and fuel conservation technologies. Our aircraft meet or exceed noise and emission regulations, and our newer planes were designed to hold more packages, which reduces the number of flights and the amount of fuel consumed. On the ground, we conserve energy and fuel by designing routes that keep drivers from idling in traffic, and those are just a few examples. All this to ensure the environment receives the same care we apply to your packages. Innovative solutions that protect the environment and the reach, reliability, and speed to help you deliver as promised all over the world. That's the UPS network. That's UPS.
Thanks for your attention. I thought I would start out with a video with jets and lasers and some things like that to show you just how exciting the world of logistics really is. But it actually is, obviously my passion after 27 years of service with UPS. And, I hope to share some of that view and some of my experience with you all today. Just to give you a little bit more about my background, and I would consider my background to be very typical of leaders at UPS. I started out over 27 years ago as a part-time employee loading trucks on a nighttime shift in Albuquerque, New Mexico while I was working my way through college. Completed my degree, became a frontline supervisor, completed an MBA, and was able to continue and grow my career. Traditionally in UPS, we have the opportunity to rotate through a number of assignments and have a broad perspective and experience when it comes to the organization. So I've worked in operations, I've managed operations, I had the opportunity to be a delivery driver and have done that job. It's really a lot of fun. I've had assignments all over the country and with some of our subsidiary companies. UPS has moved me and my family 5 times, different locations around the country. And now I've been here in Southern California for about 4.5 years. My office is down in Orange County in Laguna. We call that the West Region office for U.S. Small Package. From there we manage all of UPS operations in the 25 western states, about 120,000 UPS employees in that part of the country, and a lot of activity going on a regular basis. I have the opportunity to travel across the western half of the U.S. On a continual basis, working with our people. In my role as Human Resources Operations Director, I work primarily with the HR teams in each one of the respective geographies in the western half of the country, and my role in this assignment is coaching the management team when it comes to all aspects of human resources, including the employment and affirmative action pursuits, working with our people in terms of talent development, which will be what I speak with you all primarily about today, and the entire gamut of human resources responsibilities, within our organization, including, to a degree, communications and safety and employee relations and everything under that umbrella. So I look forward to sharing, some insight for you if I can. I've really enjoyed getting to know the team here at USC, and particularly Dr. Wilson. The dean was good enough to come to UPS and meet with a group of HR professionals just this past week and share with them the work being done here at USC and share the concepts that you all, I'm sure, are familiar with now in what we're calling the third space. I think that it's an excellent representation, if you will, an illustration, and affords the ability to drill down to some of the very important competencies that can be developed in an institution like USC and the Annenberg School. And then, there's a natural parallel to the needs in business. And I'd like to share with you today some of that view from a company like UPS. It's, one of the largest companies in the world. And, I would say a very a typical model maybe for a corporation in many ways, and a lot of the things that I think are experiences at UPS are probably common to many corporations, internationally. And so the third space has a great deal of intrigue to us, and we see some parallels with things that we have in place, and we see some opportunity to explore further development and refinement when it comes to what we do in terms of looking for people, looking for talent, developing talent in-house as well. And I think you all are really fortunate to be part of an institution like USC as students, faculty and staff, and to be experiencing what I think is really a cutting-edge moment in the development of this third space concept as you all explore that and grow that here at the Annenberg School. So I'm going to share with you just a few UPS facts. Some of these were captured in the video, but the idea of some of these facts is just to give you an idea of the scope of UPS's footprint. With over 400,000 employees worldwide, we're one of the largest employers in the world. Our revenue, our footprint internationally, the customers that we touch, that we partner with, really represent every aspect of every economy, across the globe, and that's what we strive to provide excellence in. So, our world headquarters is based in Atlanta, and you see some of the statistics when it comes to our volume of packages processed, the revenue associated with that, and the data behind all of those transactions is equally important when it comes to customers' ability to see where their shipments are, to have that assurance of reliability when they engage UPS to serve them and their customers down their supply chain. So I'll move on from that and share just a little bit more about the structure. UPS is quite a bit more than the brown delivery vehicle that services the campus here or your apartment or neighborhood. We have our own airline. It's one of the largest airlines in the world when you look at the number of flights and the fleet that we have. Of course, the ground network that you're familiar with as well. But our international footprint continues to grow. And then there are other non-traditional or non-package avenues such as the UPS stores, but also UPS Capital, UPS Mail Innovations. Yes, I did say UPS Capital. We have our own bank, if you will. We can discuss that later. The mail services, and so many of the other features of service really allow us to provide an entire portfolio to satisfy every aspect of a possible transportation need as well as the data and even the financing associated with the movement of goods and services around the globe. So just to give you a view of that footprint. And so given that structure that I've described, such a large corporation, and and I'm imagining your perspective as students and members of the team here at USC in Annenberg, you may wonder about a concept that I call line of sight. In other words, where do I fit in? How does that vast network work? How can I, metaphorically, as one in over 400,000 employees, find my way, navigate a career potentially, identify opportunities, measure success, and strive to develop a career in that type of environment, or any other parallel corporate environment, if you will. And I think that formula for success, in an organization like that, really is the secret sauce that probably every one of you are looking for as young people growing your careers, and those of you who provide the education and the development opportunities here amongst the staff are certainly looking for that insight as well. So, I won't be able to give you the recipe for that secret sauce, but I hope to share some insight and also to let you know that I think that you're on the right track with a lot of things that are going on here in terms of development opportunities and identifying needs that mesh with the curriculum and corporate America or corporations internationally. So, talent is in short supply. I guess it would be a good way of putting it. If you have followed some of the messages associated with the third space, you recognize that it's all about talent development, and talent development may be in different areas than what is so often traditionally identified, as business school people, engineering people. Speaking as an MBA, I think I have a little bit of a view on that. And growing up in a large corporation, I think I have a little bit of a view on that. You saw so much of the story of UPS in that video moments ago that has to do with engineering. And many people refer to UPS as an engineering company. And the technology is so important, the efficiencies are so important to how we operate, that engineering is an extremely important part of our culture and our strategy and our makeup. Running a profitable business in a multi-billion-dollar field of play, if you will, is also the bottom line. We're a publicly traded company, and so we're responsible, to our shareholders, and so we don't have any alternative but to be profitable in the way we pursue our business. And so there's an important place in UPS for the engineer. There's an important place, for the MBA, and I think the Annenberg School and Dean Wilson, have articulated that, but also we recognize, and I think through the third space, you all are recognizing that there's an important place for people who bring a lot of other talents to bear. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit about the need for talent at UPS and how UPS has evolved. UPS has been in existence for over 107 years, and so you can imagine from the days of a bicycle messenger company to the jets and cyberspace that dominate our business now. A lot has changed, and we've had to continue to evolve, and we will continue to evolve. Being able to evolve it all hinges on talent. We have to have the talent to fill the needs of the future, just as we have in the past as we move through all the different stages, of our business model and the stages of the business model yet to come. So, you might find it interesting, but for the first 80 years, at UPS, we really didn't advertise. And then in the late 80s, about 1990, we came up with our first, real ad campaigns. And all of you are way too young to remember this, but our original tagline was, "We run the tightest ship in the shipping business." And it exemplified efficiency. It exemplified our reputation for engineering, for perfect service, for dependability and timing. And we thought that really painted the picture of what UPS was. And so there's been a few other iterations since then when it comes to trying to capture what we are, up to the most current view, which is that we brand ourselves in terms of logistics, that we love logistics. And so you may have seen those advertisements and, the connection that we're making there that really goes beyond that delivering a package to and from, from your house to grandma, or from, an internet source that you may have, ordered something and had it delivered. But the entire logistics picture and the interconnection on a global network, and that's the space that we play in now. And so there's been quite an evolution. But part of our history also has to do with the demographics of, of our people and our talent in-house. UPS has seen, great surges of growth in the 70s and the 80s, and that's consistent with the baby boomer generation. And we've had, very generous compensation and benefits packages that have been a part of the tradition at UPS in terms of, of the employment proposition. But that's also brought us to, almost a precipice, if you will, as we look forward at the number of experienced and talented people in my age bracket and above, who will soon be eligible to leave our organization. And if we don't focus on development, then that can leave a dearth of talent and leave us vulnerable to the competition or to other bad outcomes. And so we recognize that development of people is extremely important, and they don't all need to be MBAs, and they don't all need to be engineers. They need to be well-rounded professionals who can contribute creatively and in terms of leadership in a lot of different forums, in a company of our size. And so this is the third space illustration, if you will, and the working tool that Annenberg has done so much with. And so when we talk about these competencies, the 360 thinking, the cultural competency, the competency in the area of empathy, adaptability, and intellectual curiosity, I think that all of those resonate with probably each one of us. And we, as I mentioned them, and you see them in the illustration, probably each one of us identifies those in our own terms, and applies real-life examples of intellectual curiosity or examples of empathy, or we may think of where we've seen adaptability, in a successful portrayal before, and those are sometimes referred to as the soft skills, but they're very much a part of the profile of a successful leader. And I think that's what I want to talk about for the most part and bring together as a parallel with what we do at UPS in terms of our real world assessment of people. So you have the third space competencies, as a concept here at the Annenberg School and at USC. But at UPS, we have competencies as well. And, measurement and and evaluation is, an important part of the corporate world. Attaching evaluation and even a numeric score to the outcome to measure how we're doing and to measure where we are now and where we would like to go, is part of our reality. So we have 9 leadership competencies that we work with our management people at UPS. These 9 leadership competencies, I think, in many ways, could fit within the 5 leadership competencies in the third space that Annenberg, is describing. And so at UPS, our management team, is evaluated and really asked to take the responsibility for development in the competency areas of integrity, customer focus, business and financial acumen, breadth of perspective, managing for results, communication and influence, decision-making and problem-solving, a development orientation, and partnership. So some of those are probably pretty self-evident. There's not a lot of tricks in the verbiage. They mean what you probably think they mean. But I did want to share a little bit of insight on, maybe about 4 of those competencies, just so you can see a description of those. And so the first one I selected was the customer focus competency. And as I describe these, I think that you will see the connection to the third space competencies of 360 thinking, cultural competency, empathy, adaptability, and intellectual curiosity. I think that they have a place in this tool that we work with at UPS. So when we talk about customer focus as a competency, the definition of that is that we focus and seek input on discovering customers' perspective, challenges, and needs, interprets and anticipates customer requirements, capitalizes on opportunities to meet customer needs and deliver effective solutions. And so there's an opportunity for creativity in that space. There's an opportunity for 360 thinking. In that connection with the customer, that's a very human connection, as you might imagine. And so I think that you can probably see many of the areas for overlap between the third space competencies and the customer focus piece at UPS. Decision-making and problem solving. So you may think, well, this is more in that engineering area, and the nuts and bolts of getting things done, or maybe the financial training of an MBA when it comes to decision-making. But we really need people who can identify and solve and anticipate and prevent problems. And you can imagine in a business where we have millions of customers, hundreds of thousands of employees, the myriad of problems, if you will, that can come up or that need to be anticipated and preempted requires a great deal of creativity, a great deal of foresight, a great deal of that 360 thinking, if you will, even intellectual curiosity to take you into a space that anticipates problems and comes up with solutions to solve them. Using judgment and discretion to make decisions and take action that are sound and timely. Judgment and discretion, that may be in the area of soft skills, but are extremely important for an effective leader, certainly in our business and I think in any forum. So, another competency at UPS when we talk about the development of our people is the development orientation. So I mentioned the need to grow talent at UPS, to identify talent that can fill leadership roles, really with some urgency, because just the demographics of the baby boomers moving out of the workplace and the millennials, moving into leadership roles, plays itself out every day. In my role as an HR director, identifying talent, identifying candidates, reviewing succession planning. And so the development orientation is extremely important. Recognizing and maintaining people development as a priority, is key. And so the priority that the Annenberg School places in the third space, and the energy going into the development of the competencies described here, I believe is all about the development of people, development of well-rounded people capable of great things in the future. And, at UPS, we're living that out every day. When we talk about development orientation, we're looking for someone who maintains a willingness and adaptability to learn from the knowledge and experience of others. Well, adaptability is one of the five spaces in the third space, in your model. And so, again, I feel like we live that out every day. You may have been wondering what the partnership competency is all about. Well, at UPS, we have a very strong company culture. The development path that I described for myself is very typical. Our CEO, David Abney, started out as a part-time employee loading trucks in Mississippi and is now the CEO of one of the most important companies in the world, and that's very typical at UPS. We refer to partnership, in that light, in terms of the connection and the dependence that we all have to have on one another, in our leadership roles, but across our entire workforce as we strive to grow our company. Ownership in the company is a big part of the company culture at UPS, and so compensation is enhanced by stock ownership in the company. And so when we refer to partners in the business, that's an inference also to the fact that I'm an owner, and the managers and supervisors that I work with are owners, as well as many of the employees. And so partnership is a value in our company. But I think it could also be one of those soft skills or soft competencies, but a very important one because it's so integral to how we lead our people and to that company culture that I described. And so when we look for leaders, we look for some of these competency traits, such as the collaboration and the ability to inspire a sense of shared purpose with others. And I hope you see the obvious parallels to what you all are pursuing here at Annenberg in the third space. Well, I mentioned that in the corporate world, things get measured and results are important. And so management people at UPS have to be evaluated. Performance has to be evaluated. And so those competencies, maybe in the soft or conceptual terms that I described, they play themselves out in many different ways, but also in terms of evaluation. And, competencies are measured in our business, and when you attach measurement, you can attach that to a number of things, but we attach it to pay, we attach it to promotion opportunities. We believe in a philosophy or an approach, if you will, of pay for performance, and so we attach a number to, essentially to an evaluation of how a person's doing. So part of that evaluation includes those 9 competencies, and and a large variety of specific sub-questions under each one of those on which a person can be evaluated. Evaluated on a simple scale of 0 1 or 2, 0 being that a person needs improvement in that competency area. A 1 is simply fully acceptable in that area, and a 2 is that they demonstrate outstanding traits in that competency area. We sum all of those, get an average, attach a number to that in the competency rating, and that becomes 50% of the person's evaluation score. The other 50% of the person's evaluation score is more related to specific business results. So you can imagine if you're a salesperson, you have specific business goals, that you're expected to meet, whether that's volume, revenue, profitability, the different measures that, that determine whether you're successful as a salesperson. If you're in a management role and you're leading a group of delivery drivers, you have specific hard measures there, in terms of efficiency, service levels to customers, number of packages that go on a vehicle, the amount of time it takes to deliver those packages, and the profitability of that particular area of business that you have responsibility for. So those are more hard numbers. So half of the evaluation, is around those nuts and bolts figures, if you will, and the other half of a person's evaluation is more in these competency areas. And from that, we come up with a score on every single one of our management people, and that relates directly to a pay-for-performance approach. And so numbers mean things, and a lot of the third space competency model, here at USC, you might think, well, this is kind of theoretical and, non-specific as you try to apply that to the business world. But in the business world, numbers mean things, and numbers, are related to outcomes, and some of those are very specific. So, for example, in the pay for performance, you have a score, and based on that score, you fit into 5 different categories that rates the individual's performance. So, our people are evaluated based on that. They may be somewhere between significant improvement needed, fully acceptable. It's good to be in this area identified as a strong performer or an exceptional performer. That's where I think every person strives to be. But numbers mean things. Numbers also mean things when it comes to the evaluation of a person for career development opportunities, in a corporate environment. And in our corporate environment at UPS, we evaluate people and assign a status to their career, and that can be on this scale that you see depicted here, and it's consider for lesser responsibility, which obviously is not a good thing. Consider for a lateral rotation, maybe to an area where the person could become more successful or a better fit. Maybe to retain in the current position where they're at, and try to continue development in that space and do better. Or those who, have more of an upward trajectory on their career. They may be in the developing 3 to 5 for more responsibility, developing 1 to 2 years out for more responsibility, or those who are identified as ready now for a position of greater responsibility. Yes, there's a question back there.
So you're saying that during every performance evaluation, you not only rate them this way, but you also rate them in terms of career opportunity.
Right. The question was about every performance evaluation and rating in terms of the pay for performance, and also rating in terms of a career readiness. And that's a simple way of putting it, or recapturing it, summarizing it, but that's very accurate. The career development process at UPS runs parallel to the performance measurement process at UPS, and there is an inevitable linkage between performance and opportunities for greater responsibility in the future. So that's kind of where competencies meet the real world, and it's great to be in that space of exceptional performer and ready for more responsibility. but not everybody is, and so development takes place, across the board. So I think a lot of times it's easy to talk about development for those high achievers, and at USC you're surrounded by high achievers. But development never stops. It's a continuum from people who need development to reach a satisfactory level, to those who are developing in extraordinary ways and taking on greater and newer challenges. Is the question?
Are competencies changing? Are competencies changing?
Well, our process, our model continues to be refined on a regular basis. I think that we have to expect that based on the needs of our business and the identification of where we're going in the future, very likely the competencies that we talk about in our workplace will continue to change. So, this has been an evolving tool, and I'll expect it to continue to evolve, hopefully to meet the needs of UPS. And a lot of where we go at UPS is dictated by the world around us, our customers, where they're taking their businesses, and the world, as the economy grows. And so, we have to be able to continue to adapt, just as we have over the last 107 years from a bicycle messenger business, to exploring new opportunities in emerging markets all around the world. And with that, there's the connection to people. And so we have to continue to evaluate competencies in this case and in this conversation, and look for ways to help people be more successful to meet our needs in the future. Yes?
I don't want to hold you up too much on this one point, but I'm just curious, where it says consider for lateral rotation,
Right.
what do you mean by that?
Well, I described, for example, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, consider for lateral rotation. I described my career over 27 years, and I've had a number of lateral rotations to help me develop the skill set that hopefully serves me well in my current role, and I expect I'll have another role, at some point in the future. So, so lateral rotations, is a development opportunity as well. I'd like to share just, a couple other thoughts here, because, as I spoke with the dean, he asked me to try to convey, some messages from the corporate world, if you will, to you all here, so deeply engaged in academia. And so I wanted to just share a little bit of my personal philosophy as it's developed throughout my career, but just a few points. And one of those is work ethic. Dependability is extremely important. I know that here, at school you talk a lot about conceptual ideas, and I've tried to share with you in many ways how ideas, play themselves out in the real world of the corporate world. But just simply getting the job done, in as much as you have responsibilities for assignments or responsibilities to meet deadlines in academia. The parallel is there in business, and maybe so even more so intense, because the consequences of failure, there is more than just a grade. It's it's people's livelihoods and their ability to make a living for their families. And so, work ethic is extremely important. We talk a lot about, abilities, and people have all kinds of different abilities, and a lot of those abilities lie within these competency areas. And it may sound, corny, but I have a philosophy that, among all those abilities, one of the first and most important is availability. Simply, being dependable and being someone that can be counted on will take a person a long way, in their life pursuits and including in their corporate career potentially. Persistency is very important, and not being discouraged when things go wrong or when you're faced with challenges and not sure what the answer is. But persistency, I think is a time when you reach deep inside and find some of those competencies that can help you through and come up with the solutions to situations that baffled you or challenged you. Resiliency is very important. Being able to bounce back from disappointments. So many of you I know are young in your careers or will be growing careers in the future, and your resiliency is really important. And to look for opportunities, even when you might feel discouraged, and to be flexible. As a person, in my belief, as a person puts more limitations on themselves and creates a list of things that they won't do or don't want to do, they're closing doors on themselves and closing doors on opportunities. And so maintaining flexibility is really important, in growing a career in a corporate environment, and I think, in many other aspects of life. Relationships. I've had so many mentors in my career. I've had so many people who've helped me. I try to do the same. Relationships with purpose are extremely important. If you find that your relationships with people, whether it's at school or in the work life, are negative, that they're bringing you down, that the topic, or tone continually, goes towards what's wrong and what can't be done, that's probably a relationship that isn't helping you get ahead, and achieve the goals and achieve the things that you're capable of in your life. And so I'd ask you to think about relationships and relationships with purpose, the purpose that you can bring to help others, and the purpose that you pursue in your relationships with others. And then lastly, integrity. It may seem simple, but I think all of us face opportunities to make a mistake with integrity every day. And I think the corporate world maybe gets a bad rap when it comes to integrity or honesty. Maybe some of the cliches about the corporate America, not doing the right thing, come to mind. But as it plays itself out from the perspective of people working together, in the business environment, integrity is extremely important. There's nothing more important than being able to trust the person sitting next to you, and likewise they trust you. And I think if you think about that, those relationships are important in your personal life, in your scholastic life as well. But there are some harsh realities in the business world too, and if you make a mistake when it comes to integrity and compromise in those areas, many times there's no going back from that. And you want it to be one of those competencies and one of those values that shine through for you, in any type of challenging situation. So, integrity is one of my strongest takeaways. And with that, I hope I've shared some of the view of a corporate life, if you will, from the aspects of UPS, and and I think you certainly can see some of the parallels where the Annenberg School is bringing the third space competencies to the forefront, and how those play a real life role in an organization like mine. And in so many other aspects of identifying talent and taking advantage of development opportunities. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, John. I really want to thank you for coming and giving us this presentation today. We're going to open it up for questions. I just want to say you did such a wonderful job of taking our theory, you know, what we've believed to be true through research, and then as we've tried to do proof of concept, but you've shown us through the frame of one of I think you said the 5th largest employer in the world, which is extraordinary, how these third space talents actually can be operationalized, and that is, you know, that's been part of where we want to take this work, and so it's tremendous to see these examples. I just really appreciate that. So let's give him one more hand for that. And now we'll open it up for questions. Anybody have questions for Jon, for our guest? Great.
Hi, I just wanted to go back to a little bit too about the evaluation process. Are all the competencies that you mentioned weighted equally in that process, or are some looked at a little more favorably or more weighted than others?
They're essentially weighted equally, you know, across those 9 competencies. There's not one competency that you know, outshines another. You know, they simply have a number of subcomponent questions. Those questions get that numeric evaluation, and it adds up to a sum and an average, and that's the number. And it becomes a discussion with the individual about examples within those competency areas. So, you know, if my boss is evaluating me, for example, you know, he'll talk with me about examples of, you know, of successful demonstration of those competency areas, and he'll also frankly talk with me about shortcomings and opportunities for improvement in those competency areas, and you know, and that's what a give and take of you know, of a effective evaluation should be, in my opinion.
Another question here, yes.
Yes, just to follow up on what you said, I guess that old sports quote that numbers never lie, right? But just to follow up, if you could jump back in a time capsule and go back to your undergrad days or back in your younger career, and mentioning the baby boomers to the millennials now, what advice would you give undergrad students right now as they progress of skills they need to develop outside the classroom, so when they transition, it's not a punch and, oh my God, it's the real world?
Well, you know, I tried to capture some of those for you in terms of, you know, of my last slide, and some of those, I hesitate to say words of wisdom, you know, but in the areas of persistency, resiliency, integrity, dependability, you know, those kind of things, they're just extremely important, you know, aspects of of an individual's personality that will play themselves out, you know, in any aspect, whether it's that sports analogy, you know, and the player who can't be depended upon, you know, or the parallel in you know, a scholastic environment where you have a team and you're working on a project, and maybe somebody is not honest with the rest of the group, you know, or in the business world, where, you know, for example, you know, the trait of being persistent, you know, when faced with challenges from competitors or challenges, you know, from circumstances that might seem beyond your control, you know, can be the difference between, you know, success and fail in a business environment.
Jon, of the 5 third space competencies, it seems that UPS is a great example of an organization that really needs to drill down into the cross-cultural competence, because you deal with literally different cultures around the globe. And you deal with different cultures within the corporation in terms of the pilots versus the guys on the road versus HR versus, you know, the executive suites. Do you have mechanisms in place to help ease those transitions or bridge those communications globally in terms of culture, or corporately in terms of departmental or skill set?
I'm going to say yes and yes on all of those accounts. I'll certainly, wouldn't presume to say that, that we have the lockdown on every aspect of cultural competency, but I think that we have some great advantages in terms of pursuing cultural competency. You mentioned, different groups within UPS, and I began describing my career in terms of the different roles and assignments that I've had. So, so I know what the job is on the front line of, servicing customers, and I know what the job is, in terms of the financial aspects, that measure success, and I had the opportunity to interact with customers in the sales environment, and my development has been very typical in terms of exposure to a lot of different areas of the business and opportunities in that regard. We do a lot of other things at UPS too, in terms of that international footprint, that you were describing. For example, my current vice president that I report to spent the last 10 years on international assignments. He's been, all over Asia, been all over in areas of assignment in emerging markets in Africa, and places like that around the world. But he's originally from Oklahoma, and he can bring that perspective in his leadership role to our group here in the western part of the U.S. In my assignments in different stations, around the country, I've had bosses and leaders, if you will, who have been, the president of Germany, president of Canada, people who've had president-level experience, managing in Europe and in the Middle East. And so we seek to have that kind of exposure in terms of cultural competency. Also, we really make a great effort at UPS to be engaged in the communities in which we serve. And I mentioned earlier that at UPS we're really connected to virtually every aspect of the economy. I believe we're also connected to every aspect of the communities in which we serve. Our service providers are in every neighborhood, and similarly, UPS wants to have a connection to that community, and so we do that through our foundation work and through a very strong emphasis on volunteerism among our people. UPS is in the midst of an internal goal right now that we're pursuing 20 million hours of volunteerism by the year 2020, for example. We're one of the largest contributors to the United Way through our employee donations, and our employees are engaged with the communities in a lot of ways. There are specific, more detailed developmental opportunities, for example, that I've had the chance to participate in, where we take executives like myself, take us out of our work environment, and my opportunity was to go to South Texas and work in a border town, working in the community, helping to build dwellings and to work directly with the people there. As I stepped out of my work role for a month and immersed in in that culture, and we do the same thing in other communities of need with our executives. So we try for cultural competency. We don't have it locked down, but we're always pursuing it.
Great. Any other questions?
Yes.
Great. Let's wait for the mic, if you would.
You and I had spoken earlier about the change with Amazon and with e-retailers and what it's meant for UPS. I think it's important for the students to understand how you have to capture these changes in society and adapt your business to deal with them.
Right. Yeah, the global economy has just changed so much, in the last 5 years, and then, even in the last 2 years, when it comes to, how transportation is done, what the expectations are for consumers, the ability for a person to literally start up a business with a website, have connectivity around the world to suppliers and to customers, and they can make it happen overnight. UPS has had to adapt to that and had to take advantage of that opportunity, and we'll need to continue to adapt. So, in as much as Amazon has such a big footprint, we're a business partner with Amazon, but there's also somewhere right now there's a USC grad who's coming up with the next great idea that will involve transportation, of merchandise, of goods or services, or potentially the information and funds behind that, and they may be working in a garage right now and be ready to make a move, and we want to be there to provide solutions for them. And so, so that need to continue to evolve and meet our customers' needs is what drives us.
All right, any other questions? If not, I'll ask the last one for this session. John, what do you think a new graduate should emphasize in their resume or in their interview that would really differentiate them and make them an attractive candidate for UPS?
That can be a challenging proposition, because so many times, as a person is applying to, try and get their foot in the door, if you will, they're facing these minimum qualifications, 3 to 5 years experience, or a degree in certain fields, and things like that, and that can be daunting, for many individuals. But one of the things that I think is important is that adaptability trait, in terms of being willing to get your foot in the door, and then having the persistency and the assertiveness, if you will, to show what you can do, because people differentiate themselves very quickly in the work environment, and those who are identified with the leadership skills, with the creativity, with the adaptability, with that intellectual curiosity, they quickly rise to the top, and can flourish in a career, that might have begun, at the very front line entry level, but I know that so many young people have aspirations to, to start a career, at full speed, and be highly compensated and things like that. It's a competitive environment out there, and many times, the most important first step is simply getting the foot in the door. And if you're in an environment that recognizes those type of talents, you'll quickly flourish.
Great. All right. Let's give him another hand. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.